Welcome to the show. Sergeant Rich Aloy, Public Information Officer for the Sheriff's Office. With me, I have once again Assistant Chief Deputy Shane Tucker.
Good afternoon, Rich. How you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
I'm glad to be here.
Glad you're here. We have a little bit of a, what is this, your fifth time on the show?
Maybe
Fourth?
then some.
Awesome. Permanent thing. This is great. Let's start off with the hot topics that we have. And today we got some just unusual stories that have happened here at the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office and some calls we've had.
We have. You know, the first one that comes to mind, we had a deputy try to do a traffic stop for some minor traffic violations, the really routine thing in the south end of our county. And the suspect tried to flee, but became stuck on a fire hydrant. So when she actually was contacted by the deputy, she gave some false information and had a medical emergency, had a quote-unquote medical emergency, so she had to go to the hospital, but there were charges for her for some felony warrants and some driving charges.
So the car got stuck on a fire hydrant?
Got stuck on a fire hydrant.
Can't make these things up. Next one, we had a prowler call, and upon arrival, the individual was banging on the ex-girlfriend's window, and the person was obviously taken into custody, went to jail, and this is one thing. I don't know, it happens on occasion, but you tell everybody bringing contraband into the jail is a felony, and we pat them down and everything else, but just like, we have an x-ray machine that checks you upon entering, and well, guess what? That individual had some contraband on him and was charged accordingly, and those are felonies, bringing contraband into the jail, and I'll tell you that machine has paid dividends when it comes to locating things you shouldn't have.
It certainly has, and people are quite creative in the way that they secret and hide things, and sometimes they'll bring some things into the jail in some anatomically uncomfortable positions, and that X-ray machine will certainly find them. So
absolutely,
and it did in this case. So got this gentleman some extra felony charges.
Yep. Next up, this one was kind of unusual. So the dad was upset with the son, and he was young, because he wasn't cleaning the yard fast enough. So this individual decided it'd be a good idea to pump a BB gun and pointed it at him in the hopes that he would hurry and work harder. Well, he pulled the trigger and shot his son. It was barely broke the skin, but he was charged and arrested accordingly. And what was he thinking?
I can't even begin to imagine what was going through his mind. It's really disconcerting that a grown-up, an ostensible adult, would think that it's ever appropriate to point a BB gun at a child and shoot him for discipline. So that was kind of disturbing for me.
Crazy. Next up, we had a vehicle that fled from a deputy who was attempting to make a traffic stop, and a moment later, the vehicle was found crashed on Shamuckla Highway, and the driver ended up getting out of the car and tried to run, but of course that doesn't work out. And that individual was apprehended, and later, subsequently, we found that the individual had a .357 revolver on the floorboard of his car, which was stolen. And guess what? He also had warrants for violation of probation, felony grand theft of a firearm, attempted to flee and elude, and three other misdemeanor charges. Hey, if you get pulled over, just pull over and take your dukes, so to say. And if it is what it is, but when you start to run and you have all these other charges, it never works out well.
It doesn't, and so many people run from the police over traffic offenses and minor warrants, and it makes the situation, in the criminal justice process so much worse for somebody when they flee. So absolutely, stick around, get it taken care of, and move on.
And if you have warrants, it just leads to do the right thing. If you have it, take care of it, get it over with. I can't imagine running knowing everywhere you go that the cops are looking for you, and that must be an uncomfortable, I can't say from experience, but it's got to be an uncomfortable feeling.
I would certainly think you'd get tired of looking over your shoulder.
Next up, and this was rather recent, is this past weekend, is we had an individual that entered the Tom Thumb out at Navarre Beach, and he had a device that he carried in that apparently looked like a bomb. It had wires sticking out of it. There was a computer chip. And so this individual thought that was a good idea, left it on the counter, and then went to the restroom where he apparently locked himself in. 911 was contacted, and the deputies arrived. They located the device. And, we partner a lot with the military, and their EOD, which is the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Team, came out to take a look at the device, of course, because we take all of them seriously. And the individual locked himself in the bathroom, refused to come out. Well, we ended up getting him out. And the good news is it was a fake device. It wasn't real. And he was obviously arrested, taken to the Santa Rosa County Jail, and charged with a hoax bomb threat. How do you think that's a good idea?
I don't know, but certainly in this day and age, especially post 9/11, I find it hard to imagine that anybody thinks that a bomb joke is funny. They're going to be taken seriously, and they're going to result in somebody getting in trouble.
That reminds me of another case that we had several years ago where an individual, we live near Eglin, so you never know what comes up, but this individual had a bomb that he brought to the district office. It was in the back of his pickup truck, and he had found it in his yard. I guess he was digging a pool, and it looked like an actual bomb from an aircraft. So he brought it to the office, didn't know what to do with it, and at that point we evacuated about a quarter of a mile around the district office, and we called the EOD folks that came out and says it was a real bomb. And he definitely shouldn't have been driving with it in his car, I can't imagine. And it would have detonated had he slammed on his brakes and moved around the back of the car. So if you find anything, obviously contact the military if it looks like an explosive. And on occasion, we also have things that float up on our beach that are military related. And of course, never touch those from a safety standpoint, and contact the military or the sheriff's office, and we'll go out and check it out.
Yeah, we've had over the years, we've had several cases like that of suspected and some confirmed bombs. I remember several years ago we had a fellow up in the north end of the county had a live hand grenade.
Oh.
We worked a case, and he was in possession of a live hand grenade. So although they're not all that common, we do have a few cases like that from here, time and time again.
We do. Okay, let's do this. Let's go to a quick commercial. We'll be right back.
Have you ever laid in bed and wonder what your future is going to be like? I do, and I often wonder what it's like to be a deputy. How would I look in a uniform? What's on that belt? What's the car look like inside? Who would I work with? What's it like to help others in need? What's it like to fight crime? One day, I'm gonna know.
It's a dream come true to become a deputy for Santa Rosa County. It was one of my goals I had in life, try and become a deputy before age 30, and I did it. I always wanted a brother. Now I have a ton of brothers. We're always having each other's backs. And that's that kind of close-knit family that you just can't get in any other kind of job. I'm patrolling Paradise. I work where people come to vacation, and that's amazing.
And welcome back. Related to those two commercials that you had just seen, we are hiring. We are actively recruiting. Currently, we have approximately 20 deputy positions that are open and 7 dispatchers, and we're looking for qualified individuals to fill those slots. One of the things we want to mention is these are vacant positions. They are not additions to our payroll or to our budget. And this is somewhat of an unusual situation, because we're seeing that there's less folks that are interested in joining this profession. And don't know if it's a lack of interest or national events, but one of the recent things that we've seen is the recent academy class at Georgetown was canceled because of lack of applicants. And this is, Chief, due to national issues, our environment. This is where we're headed right now, and obviously the consequences of what we're seeing on television. So how are we responding to that, and what are the things we're doing to handle the situation?
That's a good observation, Rich. And this is not something that's unique to Santa Rosa County. This is something that every agency here in the Panhandle and in the state of Florida, in the country, is going through. There's always a natural attrition with people retiring, people moving on to other things. So there's always some vacancies. But as it stands right now, we're at about the highest number of vacancies that we've had in my career that I can remember. And you know, I think there's multiple reasons for that. Not the least of which I think is the current cultural climate in the United States of America right now is just making it a little bit less of an attractive career choice for a lot of people. A lot of people are kind of staying away from some of the things they're seeing on TV. You know, as generations change, so does their what they find, you know, interesting and intriguing in a career. You know, what they define success as isn't necessarily what we defined success as 25 years ago. People are upwardly mobile now more than they were when you and I started this profession. When I became a law enforcement officer, my goal was to get hired somewhere, stay there, and retire. And now you're seeing people come in that that plan on not staying in a career. So some of the things that we're focusing on right now, number one is we're trying to streamline the hire process. We're trying to get it, you know, much quicker than we've been doing. Historically, it's taken us about 90 days from the time an applicant files to the time we actually have them in a uniform. So we're trying to speed that process up, make it a little more efficient, in addition to reaching out to you know, various points of contact with the public to get some interest out there to see if we can't generate some interest where maybe there's not already some.
And I think times have definitely changed. And I remember when I was hired, I competed against 30 other people to get the job. And out of the few openings that they had, you know, I felt fortunate to have been selected. And the background process takes that long because you want to make sure you get a qualified applicant, you have someone of good moral character that can make good judgment. And that's, of course, what we all want in a law enforcement officer. And that's what really takes a lot of time. Because these background checks, you want to be as thorough as you can. But then you have, back then, you had a lot of numbers. So it was a you know, quick to get it done, but with accuracy. And now I agree with you, Chief. It totally changed. So can you think of any specific changes we've made to the hiring process as of today?
Like I said, the biggest thing we're doing is we're trying to reach out to people in a way that we haven't previously. You know, the philosophy for decades in law enforcement, and much because it was such a sought-after career, was we'll sit back and let applicants come to us. And that's just not going to work anymore. You know, we're going to have to go out and meet people where they are, whether that's on social media, whether that's at job fairs, or, you know, whether that's you know, meeting with people on school campuses or in military bases. We're going to have to go out and actively recruit applicants and kind of sell the profession, if you will.
Absolutely. You know, in military, we talk about recruiting from the military. There's folks out there that maybe are watching the show, and they are probably going to get out of the military or have recently gotten out of the military, and we have a strong preference for people that want to get out of the military and come to law enforcement simply because of the discipline that it takes, the mindset, and our chain of command, which is somewhat paramilitary. So we found that there's an acclimation to law enforcement coming from the military. Do you think there's a rebound from this problem in the near future?
I do. You know, over the course of my career, it's been kind of like a pendulum. You've seen, you know, public favor swing to the left and to the right, and I think we're kind of on our way back now. One thing that I think would be remiss if we didn't point out is here in Northwest Florida, it's not the same as it is in a great many places and regions in the country. You know, at this day and age, I can say over the course of my career, in the last 3 to 5 years, the public has been more vocal in expressing support of the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office than any time that I can remember. So I think it's really important that we not confuse some of the situations we're seeing on the national front with what's going on in our own backyard. Right now, being a law enforcement officer in Santa Rosa County, this is a terrific time to do so.
You know, great point, Chief, and I would echo what you said. It's a cyclical environment where it goes both pro and con, and I think we're on the upswing to that. What do you think the long-term effects could be of a situation like this if it proceeds?
Well, certainly if we don't see some relief in the near future, you know, we're going to have some problems. Like I mentioned before, we have the natural attrition. People retire, people quit, people move on, people get injured, people get fired. And if we continue with the natural attrition and we're not replacing those people, eventually we'll find ourselves where we're not staffed to the point where we can adequately maintain the services that we provide, and that's not acceptable. We'll have to fix it. So to answer your question, that would be bad, but we're not going to let that happen.
And such as higher crime rate or maybe longer response for service calls.
Certainly, and up to and including not responding to some certain things that we do now. You know, some of the nice things we do, like VIN verifications. You know, I could conceive a situation where if we didn't have the manpower, we wouldn't send people to do VIN verifications and things of that nature. So that's something we're going to avoid at all costs.
Great point, Chief. Let's do this. Let's go to a quick commercial and we'll be right back.
Okay, sir, this is a citation for speed. However, I did give you your break, but you need to do me a favor, slow on down, just because of the fact that, you know, it is dangerous out here speeding right here. So do me a favor, you know, slowing down. Whoa! Slowing down. Whoa! Wow. That's the reason why you got to have a move-over law in effect to save somebody's life.
Hi, I'm Santa Rosa County Sheriff Bob Johnson, asking you to please remember to move over so all of us can come home safely.
From that first day when I started hearing stories about what law enforcement actually, you know, entailed, I was hooked. I'm very involved with, you know, being on the SWAT team. It's my niche, if you will. I take pride in what I do. And my wife grew up in Santa Rosa County. I have, you know, 2 children, one on the way. I try to be the best husband and father I can be. Hopefully at the end of the day, it'll make me a better cop as well.
I am Michael Ramirez, and I am proud to be a Santa Rosa County Deputy Sheriff.
And welcome back. This is our favorite part of the show. This is our wanted fugitives, and these individuals are wanted as of today, which is February 2nd. And if you have any information in reference to any of these individuals, we want you to contact the Santa Rosa County Crime Stoppers at 437-STOP. Great partner of ours. And let's get on with the show.
All right, first up we have Henry Watterson Arbona III. Henry is wanted for charges of sexual assault, sexual battery on a victim less than 12 years old. He is a white male, 54 years of age, approximately 5 feet 9 inches tall and 170 pounds. He has gray hair and hazel eyes. If you know where Henry is, give us a call. We need to get him off the street immediately.
And next up is going to be Ashley Rose Bach. And Ashley's wanted on charges of trafficking amphetamines, 14 grams or over, possession of a controlled substance without a prescription, driving while license suspended, a subsequent offense. And Ashley is a white female. She's 33 years of age. She's about 5'4", 180 pounds, and she has brown hair and green eyes.
All right, and number 3 is Miss Tara Lynn Driggers. Miss Driggers is wanted for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. She's a white female, 40 years of age, approximately 5 feet 4 inches tall and 140 pounds. She has red hair and hazel eyes, and we have her flagged in our system as violent. So if you know where she is, give us a call, but please don't confront her. Let us handle that.
And next up is going to be Thomas Dewayne Kervin. And Thomas is wanted for grand theft of a motor vehicle. Thomas is a white male. He's 41 years of age. He's approximately 5 foot 1 inch tall, 195 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes.
All right, and next up we have Brandon Tyler Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell is wanted by the Milton Police Department on a DUI with property damage. He's 25 years of age, 6 feet tall, and 150 pounds. He's got black hair and brown eyes.
And next up is going to be Misty and Wintill. And Misty is wanted on extensive charges, including revoking bond, neglect child without great bodily harm, knowingly giving false ID to law enforcement, failure to appear, possession of controlled substance, 2 counts, possession of drug equipment, 2 counts, failure to appear, neglect child without great bodily harm, knowingly giving false information to law enforcement, failure to appear for child and truancy court. Misty's a white female. She is 37 years of age. She's approximately 5 foot 7, 115 pounds, with brown hair, which may be dyed, and has green eyes.
Next up, we have Joshua Edward Lindsey. Mr. Lindsey is wanted by the Gulf Breeze Police Department for possession of a synthetic cannabinoid. He is a black male, 35 years of age, approximately 5 feet 9 inches tall, and 180 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes.
And next up is going to be Joseph Alexander Forcell. And Joseph is wanted for revoked bond. actual possession of synthetic cannabinoid. Joey, as he's called, is a white male, 36 years of age. He's approximately 5'5", 125 pounds, with brown hair, blue eyes, and he is considered violent. Do not approach him. Give us a call.
And next up, we have Derek Tyler Morenci. Mr. Morenci is wanted by the Milton Police Department on charges of burglary of an unoccupied structure, grand theft, criminal mischief. He's a white male, 28 years of age, 6 feet 2 inches tall, 250 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He's noted to be violent, gang member, and a registered criminal with prior burglaries. So if you know where he's at, please give us a call.
And lastly, is going to be Evan Franklin Volk. And Evan is wanted for extensive charges of sexual offender violations, including failure to register as required, provide false registration information, failure to report name or residence, which is a charge, 2 counts, failure to comply with registration laws, 2 counts, and Evan is a white male, 58 years of age. He's approximately 5'11", 130 pounds, with gray hair, green eyes, and he may be considered violent. So don't approach him, give us a call, and that is one individual we need to put in jail. So that wraps it up for the wanted fugitives. And if you have any information, 437-STOP, or you can go to srccs.com or the P3 app you could download to your phone from Anderson Software. And using the app, you can chat 2 ways with investigators and get some cash while you're at it.
And you know, that has really proven to be quite beneficial to our investigators, because oftentimes we get Crime Stoppers tips and they just don't have all the information that they know they have. So if we're able to converse back and forth with them, we've been able to solve some cases with that. So that's a tremendous asset to us.
I love Crime Stoppers. It is such a great organization. Let's keep going, Chief, with the recruiting, and let's talk about salary. So a lot of questions we get is, what's a deputy salary?
Okay, the deputy salary is going to start off around $40,000, a little over $40,000 a year. And of course, we have some stages. So if we bring in a deputy sheriff with some relevant experience, we can go up a little bit to just under $44,000 is normal for an experienced deputy. And of course, it's going to depend on their years of service and what their service was.
And you know, the other thing to mention is we're also hiring, if you're from out of state, that's important. If you have family, you're watching the show, or if you want to bring over a relative to Florida and they're from out of state, it is so simple to do in the state of Florida. All they have to do is take a transition course, which is anywhere from 40 to 80 hours depending on experience. And that's it, a week, 2 weeks of class, which we do in-house. And you'll be able to transition right over to law enforcement. You have an abbreviated training, and you could be out in the streets within a matter of weeks.
Matter of weeks.
And that's a great way to do it.
It sure beats having to go through a 777-hour academy.
Is that how long it is, though? Man. Dispatcher salary, that's another one. We're also hiring dispatchers, and that ranges anywhere from $38,000 to $42,000 annually, depending upon experience. And I'll tell you, we love dispatchers. That is an extremely important job. You have to be an amazing multitasker. So if that fits your bill and you are a good multitasker and you find that of interest, just go over to our website, santarosasheriff.org, under the careers tab, and there's an open position tab. You can go on there, apply online, and it really doesn't take much time. And dispatchers are critical to what we do. They're our lifeline when we need assistance. So they're the first responders.
You know, they sure are. It's such a critical position. And you know what a lot of people really don't realize, Rich, is how difficult a job that is. Yes. You know, when we talk about deputy sheriffs, we have about a 20% washout rate. About 20%, about 2 out of every 10 people that get hired on to be a deputy sheriff don't make it. They can't cut the training. And I would say that it's a significantly higher percentage for dispatch that can't make it. So. And the men and women in dispatch, those are the unsung heroes of first response. So hats off to them. They have a tough job that I'm not sure I can do.
I can't. I stayed in there a few times during difficult calls. It stresses me out. I'd rather be on the road dealing with the bad guy. Benefits. You know, Chief, this is really important because we work hard to maintain an agency that's attractive. And let's go over some of the benefits that we have. And we offer paid holidays that even if you don't work the actual holiday, you know, you could be paid up to double time and a half. And we have 11 paid holidays.
Yeah, if you work, you're going to get paid double time and a half. But even if you don't work, the holiday, you're still going to get holiday time for that. So that's a real nice benefit.
We have 100% paid overtime, so there's no comp bank. That's something that a lot of other agencies have, that you just take that time, put it into a bank, but not here.
Get paid for all of it.
And for those out of state, maybe watching this, there's no Florida state tax. That's great. It's a great incentive to come to Florida. Benefits are free to the employee. That's amazing. You know, Santa Rosa County's got some of the best benefits that I know of, and family members can be included at a reasonable rate. And let's see, we have Florida retirement insurance, and you can retire and collect a great pension. 97% of that's paid for by the county. We also have agency take-home cars. Chief, what's the policy on that? It's kind of skipping me. If you live a county over, how does that?
We will play it by ear, but typically anybody within an adjacent county, our county or an adjacent county, will allow them to take a car home.
Cool. 100% tuition reimbursement at local college rates. That's awesome. Also, salary incentives for training and education, which is added directly to your check. We got a free gym available at the main office, which is pretty good. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Flexible spending account, life insurance, credit union. It goes on and on and on. So if you have any interest in coming to the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office, go ahead and apply, and we'll be happy to see you.
Absolutely. We look forward to it.
Yep. And thanks for joining our show. We're out of time, and we'll see you on our next show. You guys take care.